Hello again, VOTOMS robot fans. We got another loose one here. I bought it at a used toy store. It was a decent price, and now I think I realize why it doesn't have all the parts. It just had a price tag on it, no box or anything like that. So, through my research, it turns out it's made by Max Factory, and they had a line of 35th scale VOTOMs called 35 Max, and this is called the Blood Sucker, which is from some sort of movie called The Last Red Shoulder. And the reason why I think it is this one because you can see the pattern here on this gun is identical to that. There is another brand I think called Wave making this model, but the gun has different details. So this I'm pretty sure is a Max Factory one. You can also see here, I seem to be missing, 4 hands, and I don't know what that is. So yeah, okay, well, it's no big deal. Like I said, I got it for a decent price, and I haven't even seen this in animation, so I guess I don't care so much. But here on MAHQ, here's the stats and whatnot about this thing, and here's the story of it. Here it's was some sort of battalion and stuff like that, a group of things, mechs, and so they have red shoulders. Okay, so I'm gonna pop this piece in. I don't know if it goes this way or this way. I think it goes this way. Okay. And then, well, let's get this rifle out of the way. So notice this is a separate piece. I guess that's probably maybe the magazine in the cartoon. It's pretty, it doesn't fall out, but it's a loose fit. And the paint is kind of sticky. I think this is a PVC toy from my internet research. But, this may not be. I'm not sure if this is PVC. This may be because it seems like it's softer material. But this has nicely molded details and all that, so that's nice. Maybe I could put some poster mount putty in here to just tighten that hole up there. I wonder if this comes out. No, it doesn't. It doesn't seem to. Okay, and then there actually are some depressions in the barrel ends, so that's not bad. Okay. So 1/35th scale, let's see how tall this guy is. I'm getting maybe 132, 133 millimeters, the way I'm looking at it. That's just like above his head. You know what, actually there's probably a more scientific way or more technical way to do this, and that would be to take another object. Hold on here. Problem is, I don't want an object that's going to scratch the model. Alright, maybe these calipers. Assuming that's level. Yeah, still, it's probably 132, 133 millimeters. If you actually factor in this red thing, the shoulder, it's over 15. Yeah, it's probably like 155 millimeters, over 6 inches, a little over 6 inches. At the head, it's like 5¼ inches or so, if that matters to you guys. This would be my first 1/35th scale VOTOMs. It was never my intention to collect this scale, but again, it was a decent price. Okay, now, so looking at this guy, I think this has been played with a lot because it feels kind of loose, right? But let's start off with the top here. This head, the head's got some cool details here. Yeah, let me actually raise the camera up a little bit. Yeah, so the green eye, I think it's translucent. There's actually light getting inside of there on the main eye, but this one is just painted on the surface, so you know there's no light getting in there. It's opaque, but this one is actually translucent, so that's pretty neat, I think. And then this red here, it's not translucent, but it looks like it was painted silver first and then maybe a red clear coat on top of it. But now down here, this little red box is translucent. So I don't know if this whole body is just a clear piece of plastic or something before, and they just painted everything, kind of like Chorokyu does, or if these are actually plastic inserts that are transparent. I'm not sure. Okay, the head does rotate. Does it come off? No. And unfortunately, the hatch doesn't open. This is a solid piece, so there's no view into the cockpit, which is Kind of strange, actually. Maybe they couldn't do it do it in vinyl. Okay, so it's got like headlights down here, and again, these look like clear orbs or something like that. So they're translucent. There's light bouncing around in there, so that's pretty neat. Okay, it's got some smoke dischargers here on the head. Kind of shallow depressions. Would have been cool if there was another detail in there, so it looks like a canister that can shoot out, you know. Going to the back of the head, there's a silver and red again, so that's pretty neat. I think this is a separate piece, but it's glued in. So what I think is this head is PVC, and then this little piece of plastic is literally a harder plastic because it's got a slightly different finish to it. This looks a little more matte. It just looks like a duller plastic, and this looks like something injection molded, but of a harder type of plastic, maybe ABS or something. I don't know why that is, but that's the impression I get. You see here in the back, this kind of roughness, you wouldn't see this in like an injection molded hard plastic, but in PVC it's very common to have these imperfections. It's just, I guess, an inferior material perhaps. Alright, well, now again, yeah, this backpack I think is PVC, but what I just am touching here I think is a harder plastic because it just has a smoother quality to it. There's actually multiple pieces going on. This thing here, and it's going into that, but okay, well, I'm not sure why they would do that, but does it open? No, it does not. Alright, there's a little handle here. Quite rigid. I wouldn't want to bend that too much. It's got some nice little thruster details, or I don't know if these are thrusters because there's a belt going to them. But what else would they be? Please leave a comment if you know. Alright, some back details here. This thing is rigid, and it doesn't move. It's not pivoting. It's probably glued in place. Yeah. It doesn't really want to flex much. A tiny bit, but not much. Alright. Let's see, going to here, now the side plates do hinge. Still pretty rigid plastic though. Alright, so the back of the legs, you can see some molding flash here was trimmed off. And then there's a hinge for the knee, and that's like a different plastic. It looks like the Hasbro kind of plastic, where it's that swirly silver plastic. And so is it a single hinge or a double hinge? It's a double hinge. 1, 2, yeah, okay. So I guess that helps, but you can still only get 90 degrees of a bend because the armor collides with itself. Alright, we're just going to continue to the back here. So there's a flap here with some for armor. It's got some nice little details. And then the foot, I can't see up in there, but it looks like a hinge. Yeah, there's a hinge there, but then the bottom is probably on a ball peg, which would explain why I can do this and rotate around. Although it can't, well, maybe it can go 360, but I don't know why you would want to. Alright, so this wheel here unfortunately is molded in. It does not spin at all. Could be a separate piece because it looks like the paint is way down in there, so I think they glued that in. And then it's got these spikes here on the feet. That does spin. Does it come out? Yeah. Yeah, so that's like that PVC stuff. And then, yeah, this one feels a lot softer. Huh, there's actually some oil in there. Maybe the previous owner put that in because maybe it sticks to itself, this paint or something. Alright, let's go to the front now. So there's a flap here protecting the ankle. It's got some nice like rivet marks. And the front of the foot's not really exciting. And then the shin, whatever. Knee pad, okay. More molding flash here. And then the front shields here, or armor, they do pivot on a ball, it seems. I'm not sure. Yeah, there's a ball peg there. And this is a cool logo. I don't know what the R means, but this red is actually raised and there's depressions next to it, so that's what allowed them to paint it nicely. And also this yellow border is recessed. There's a groove. So it's a three-dimensional logo, and then they painted it also, so that's really neat. Alright, some more like rivet marks or something. This side's asymmetric. Maybe, I think that's probably a step for the person to get into the cockpit. Alright, now this knee here has a tube coming out of it. I've never really researched why these VOTOMs have tubes coming out of their knee and going into the shin. But they do. Okay. Oh, I forgot to mention this. There's some sort of fake wheel here, but it's just molded in. It doesn't move, but it's painted nicely. There's no sort of toe pivot either. Okay. So going to the top here, there's a peg and a ball here for the thigh joint. Okay, does that shift? No, it doesn't shift at all. So that's a rigid peg. Alright, now the torso I'm sure must spin, right? Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. No, maybe it's just the paint. So that might be why there's some oil in some of this. So obviously we have just a peg shaft. And yeah, alright, so there's no rocker or anything like that. Just this one axis of movement here, rotary movement. Alright, this shoulder here, the shoulder pad seems to be articulating on its own. Oh, it's a ball, a peg here. Well, it's not really a peg, but there's a ball there. And so you can see that swirly silver plastic here is the shoulder joint. It's a hinge. And then that whole thing spins. So that's good. And then does this spin? Yeah. So that's good as well. And then we have a double jointed, ooh, that's really good articulation. That's almost like a 180. Hold on, let's see. The guy's hitting his head. That's the best armband I think I've ever seen in an action figure. Granted, I don't have too many action figures, but still, that's impressive. Especially for something with such blocky armor. So that's really impressive. Okay, nothing spins here, I don't think. Does this have a punch mechanism? Nope, doesn't pull out. But this little armor plate, pivots, obviously. It's got some details there. And then the hand, I think it's just a ball. Yeah, well, it's kind of a ball on the end of this peg. Simple enough to pull out and pop back in. Alright, so fist on that guy. So this is all vinyl as well, very soft, that one. And then this ring, alright, nice. So this little ring does move. I think these things are like helicoptered in on cables. Alright, this red shoulder. Yeah, it really just is a red shoulder, but it's got these wings on it. I don't know if these are supposed to be antennae or what, but the D-ring or whatever, the suspension ring here also pivots is on this side, so that's cool. And then, but otherwise now this arm is the same as the other side, so. But we do have a grippy hand here for the rifle. Let me get this thing back on. Nice snap to it. Oh, I just put that in upside down. Well, it's an affordance. You can do that if you want. But it obviously sits a lot better the way it's supposed to. So now we get this little gun, and let's pop it in here. I'm really amazed with the articulation on that elbow. Come on. There we go. Oh. This thing. So I gotta say, the arms are a highlight for articulation. The abdomen not so much. There's no like canting forward or pivoting around. It's just left or right swiveling. But the legs seem to have a pretty good amount of movement because the ankles can do almost anything. So you get some low stances here. Let's see. That's not bad. That's not bad for a robot. Looks like he's about to take a dump. Anyway. But unfortunately, I think this thing's so used. Yeah, it's kind of floppy. Right? The ankle's not gonna. Well, all right, it will balance, but yeah, I might need some like floor polish or something in the ankles and knee joints to thicken it all up. It just feels a little floppy, but again, I bought it used, so who knows how many times the last guy or girl posed this thing. Yeah, so that's kind of problematic. Does this come out? Huh, what do you know? Yeah, with a little, it's just a friction fit. Interesting. Okay. Nope. Sorry. Alright, I guess we'll compare it to a couple other VOTOMS scales, since now I have like a few. So, what got me into all this is I bought a few of these loose. These are 1/48 scale active gears made by Takara Tomitech, and these are absolutely awesome. They're a little fidgety being so small, but this one literally has, all of them have opening cockpits, and unfortunately an unpainted figure, but you can paint that if you really took the effort to do so. So that's what I really like about these guys. And then the head does turn, the visor goes up and down, and then the optics slide within that slot, and they rotate. Right, so that's it's just crazy how much articulation is in these tiny little things. They also convert to the landing mode where the guy can get in and out. So I have videos on all these other VOTOMS, these active gears, if you want to look those up. And these also get pretty nice poses. And yeah, it's just awesome. I really love these things, but they're so small, and I'm just a klutz with my hands, that I kind of appreciate the larger models, except for space. Space is the concern. I also have come to realize Active Gear made this Blood Sucker. It's just that they're never for sale online. So I guess that's one of my dream wish list kind of figures to get one day. One of these in this scale, but without getting you know, ripped off. I'll overpay, but I would prefer not to get totally ripped off. Alright, and then now, this is a B25 VOTOMS. B25 makes acid rain figures, or robots, or mecha, whatever you want to call them. So these are a little bit deformed, like cartoon deformation. So you can see everything's squatter, whereas these guys are more accurate to the cartoons or the movies where they're taller and slender. But I love these B25s because they have ratcheting joints in many cases, and so they can hold their poses really nice. Right, and then being a 1/28 scale, they come with a little 1/28 scale or 2.5 inch figure. This one's not probably really well designed though. Her hair gets in the way. She does have an alternate head without hair, and that works better. But so this one, if you're curious, if you have this one, I went ahead and I drilled these holes out. That was one thing that I thought was a little lame on this guy. These things are all just blanked off. So what I did is I took a needle and I heated it up with a lighter, and I just sank it in there to start a depression, and then I took a drill bit and I literally drilled them out with my fingers. I didn't even use an electric drill because I didn't know how soft the plastic was. And so I decided to do one in the middle also, and I added a hex stainless steel bolt, you know, so it looks like it spins on this. Because oddly, B25, they don't make this spin. They make the arm spin. So you'll see the whole arm spins, but the barrels don't, which is weird because it's a Gatling gun. And so what makes it really weird is the smaller toy will do it. See the little active gear? Yeah. So again, the active gears are amazing. They have like just as much articulation, if not more, than larger scale toys. But they're just really fidgety, so small, you know. Whereas these are just really good to pose. They're so strong in their hinges, you don't feel like you're going to break something playing with this thing. This is kind of in between. If this was brand new, it'd probably be much better. But yeah, right now the joints are very loose. And then there's something about the paint finish on this thing. It looks like it's orange peeled a little bit. I don't know how old this thing is. Maybe the last person cleaned it with alcohol or something. I'm not sure. But there's some of the paint, like this red shoulder, has a little stickiness to it, whereas these are just raw plastic. Well, this one I weathered a little bit as well, so it came weathered a little bit. Like this is molded in, this brown, but down here, like, I added some Tamiya black paint wash and stuff like that. Okay, well, enough with these guys. There'll be more videos on those scales later. I don't know about this scale though. Now that I know this thing comes in 1/48 scale, I'll probably get that someday and then maybe sell this off due to a lack of space. Alright, well, still, as far as a design of a robot goes, I think this is a cool looking robot. Yeah, funky optics on the thing. But yeah, it just kind of pales in comparison to the other two because the hatch doesn't open. There's no figure to put in and pull in and out of the thing. But I do like the clear plastic bits and even the painted optics as well. Okay guys, well, if you like VOTOMS, hopefully you enjoyed this video. And I will continue to collect some more of these guys. VOTOMS, maybe not these Max Factories, but VOTOMS in general. Thanks. We'll see you around, guys. Bye.